Hello, my friend, and welcome to Perfect Practice. Today, I get to speak and share the amazing talents and gifts of somebody who's become a mentor and a friend to me over the years. Dennis Wong. Dennis is a pharmacist and functional medicine practitioner based out of Winnipeg. And him and I actually met through a colleague of ours, Dr. Bob Rakowski. We both belong to an organization called Organo, and it's through that organization that we've helped thousands of people with the utilization of reishi mushrooms. And we've also, I can say personally, have met some amazing people, including Dennis. Dennis then joined our mentorship program, and I'm excited to speak with him today, dive into more about what he represents, why he does what he does, how he's using his knowledge as a pharmacist and functional medicine practitioner to serve others. And I really admire Dennis for his continuous effort in spreading the gospel of functional medicine and wellness. So without further ado, welcome, Dennis. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for the invitation. This is exciting stuff to share.
Well, I really admire you for so many things, as a father, as an entrepreneur, as somebody who is willing to step outside of his comfort zone to reach as many lives as he can. So thank you for inspiring me to up-level my game and inspiring others in your community to live a better life. It's greatly appreciated and very needed right now in the world.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing what you do also, because, after we met, I'm also being sort of following and trying to find the direction, right? And your group become one of the highlight where and how I should be spreading the word and how to help people, more people. So
amazing. Well, thank you. So I know that, with your background as a pharmacist, you're exposed to people on a daily basis who are looking to improve their health, looking for solutions. But before we get into that, what I'd love to know is, where does your story start? What prompted you to become a pharmacist and to get into healthcare? From what I understand, you did not grow up in Winnipeg. So what prompted you to move there? Like, let's go way back. Where does your story start?
I was born and raised in Burma, now it's called Myanmar, which is next door to India and China and Thailand. And when we were growing up, I'm actually number 9 out of 9 brothers and sisters. I'm the youngest. Yeah. So my parents didn't really want to move to Canada because they have their own business there. One of my brother moved here, and from his point of view, it's going to be better for younger generation, for us, a few young people, to get a better education out here in Canada. So my parents decided to move in 1984. And I was 19 when I came here. And my goal was to get into some sort of healthcare, especially medicine. And the reason is my mom, when she was running in Second World War, my grandfather actually got dysentery during the war, and they could not find any health practitioner to help them. And so my grandfather died with dysentery. So before he died, my mother promised him that every child that she has gonna be in healthcare, if not physician. So she pushed all of us that. And so when I came here, I went to high school, university, and my goal was to get into medicine. And it's funny that I became pharmacist, even though I didn't want to, as one of my brother who's above me, number 8, he wants to be a pharmacist. And he asked me to fill out the form, and I refused to. And he actually filled it out and made me sign it. I got into pharmacy, he didn't. He's now electrical engineer in US. So I always said that story saying, hey, it's because of him. He has the good, I guess, future, whatever, and that he believed that I can be this rather than physician. So that's how I end up as a pharmacist.
Wow. So out of the 9, all brothers, you said, right? So you got
brothers and sisters. I got 4 brothers and 4 sisters.
Okay, awesome. So how many of them ended up in healthcare?
I'm 1, 2, three of us.
Okay, not bad.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Actually, three of us. Yeah, right. Sorry. Have to count because it's so many of us.
No, I totally get it. So does anyone else live in Winnipeg with you, or are you there by yourself?
No, I got three brothers and one sister live in Winnipeg, and then one sister in UK, one sister is actually in Toronto, and one brother's in and one sister in Denver, and one brother in Michigan.
Okay, it kind of sounds like my family. So my mom has four siblings, and at one point we all lived. At one point, they all lived in the same house, believe it or not, here in Toronto. And then now they've spread out. Some of them live in Toronto, some in Michigan, some in Georgia. So it really helps to have a family close by.
For sure.
Growing up, I so greatly appreciated that. So I can definitely empathize and recognize the value of having family close by to you.
For sure.
So you run your business is called Sinden Pharmacy.
Yeah.
And where does that name come from? I know there's a story there.
Yeah. When we started, actually our first pharmacy was started over 24 years ago. And I was working for Shoppers Drug Mart at that time for about 5 years. And I got frustrated because, there's corporate rules and regulation. And I'm one of those that when I graduated, I was one of the few that wanted to do more clinical, patient care rather than just filling prescription. And with the corporate rules and regulation, to the point that for me was I either go start my own pharmacy or I quit pharmacy profession totally and go back to university, change career totally. And my wife's a pharmacist classmate of mine also, and she said, no, don't do that. So I said, okay, we got to open a pharmacy then. And she said, no, pharmacists never lose their job. I have a good job. You can go start your own. And I said, I'm not doing it myself. So within 6 months, she actually got laid off she was working for Walmart nursing home division. And Walmart decided to sell the nursing home because it's not profitable for them. So she got sold with the nursing home to Rexall Pharma Plus. And after working at Rexall Pharma Plus for 3 months, she got really frustrated. And there's a weekend, that turning point. All the nursing home pharmacists has to take the call pager, every other week or once a month, whatever. And that weekend, she was on call on Sunday. And at 10 o'clock, we were about to go to church and the pager beeped. So she called the nursing home. And nursing home said they have a palliative care patient who ran out of morphine. So they needed right away patients in pain. So my wife said, okay, because it's narcotic and we have to, with the regulation, we have to page the on-call palliative care physician. So she paged the physician. Physician did not return the page for about an hour. And when the physician called back, he said, yeah, I'm at home now, come and get the prescription. And the physician lived across town. And Winnipeg, it's not a big city, so you can go across town within 45 minutes on Sunday. So we said, okay. So my wife said, can you drive me? Because, across town, she doesn't really drive that across town other side. So I said, sure. So we left the house. We just got in the car in the garage and she got paged again. So she went back into the house and called the nurse saying, yeah, I just got the reply from the doctor. We're going to go get the prescription. And the nurse said, that's why I paid you. Don't bother. The patient died.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So we both sit at the garage door in the car and we both cry. And then my wife turned around and looked at me and said, you said you want to open your own pharmacy. I said, yeah. Do you still want it? I said, yeah. She said, so if we have our own pharmacy, this kind of thing, if I cannot get a hold of the physician and patient is dying, would you let me take the morphine to the patient and then we'll deal with the prescription later? I said, absolutely. She said, okay, let's open. So we started planning and I already did some legwork. So within 3 months, we opened the pharmacy. And everybody at that time said, independent pharmacies are dying. You're not going to make it. Within 6 months, you're going to die. Don't do it. And I ignore them. And when we're trying to look for the name. We didn't know what to do. We wanted something our own in there, but we also wanted community that were opening. So in the community that we're opening, it's a brand new community, south end of the city, 24 years ago, called White Ridge. So we want to call White Ridge Pharmacy, but then we said, we need to have something in there. And so we're trying to think of the name. And my brother from Michigan was visiting us for Christmas, for fall or whatever reason, I forget. We opened in November. So we were discussing about all this different name, and he then looked at me and Cindy and smiled and said, he said, call it CD White Ridge. And we looked at him and like CD, and he said, compact disc. And Cindy and I looked at each other and I said, yeah, Cindy and Dennis, CD. So that's how it started, the name CD. And then 10 years ago, we opened second pharmacy. And so we said, okay, we're going to call it Cindy and Dennis. So that's how the name came about.
Wow. And you proved them all wrong, because not only did you survive past the 6 months, but you opened up a second location.
And the interesting thing was, a year after we opened the first pharmacy, Walmart actually came in a block away and opened up this huge, pharmacy with a superstore with the pharmacy. And so everybody's like, are you going to sell to Walmart? Because you can make it, you can compete. And I said, no. We're just going to stay under the radar of Walmart and do different things than what Walmart did. So we kept going, and then Safeway opened up. We got Shoppers around here. We got Sobeys a block away. So a block away, I got 4 other big corporate pharmacy, and I'm independent, a block south of them. And we work together. The stuff that they cannot do, then they call us and say, can you do this? And we say, yeah. And so whatever they cannot do, we pick it up.
Okay. So what are some of those things that you do that they would call you up for?
After they open up, and our community was really brand new community with a family with 2.5 kids. That's how I call it. All these young, child and children. And so they got, at the time, a lot of antibiotic ear infections and stuff. And antibiotic flavors are really bad. So we actually got into flavoring of antibiotic. And so in the whole city, we were the only pharmacy that know how to flavor antibiotic with a different flavor. And we got to the point that we had actually 100 different flavors in our pharmacy. And so when the patient come in, we have the list and we put the menu down on the counter and ask the kid, which one would you like? And we go from there. Every time they come in, they pick different flavor for antibiotics. And so that's how we've been known as a flavoring pharmacy. And across the city, all the pharmacies are actually sending patients to us because they don't know how to do it. We did it.
It's like you're the Baskin Robbins of pharmacies.
Exactly. So, and then we later on got into actually compounding, because then we got palliative care doctors asking, saying, can you do this? Can you do that? And so I started doing more pain management, compounding. So I've actually brought in the practice of topical pain gel to Winnipeg, doing diclofenac and stuff, started introducing to the palliative care physician. And we started doing actually even anti-nausea topically for cancer patients that are on chemo drug, they're getting really nauseated. And any other manufacturer products are not working for them. So they'll call me and I will then come up with the topical anti-nausea for different patient, different cases. And we go from there. So that actually led to more training into compounding. And we belong to a group called Professional Compounding Center of America, which is based out of Houston. And they still do a lot of training, and some of their training, they actually has a foresight of bringing in functional medicine physician to lecture about, okay, you're treating pain from functional point of view, what else can you do? And started digging of these root cause, what else? And so that's when, and at the same time, we're known for pharmacy that will do anything to serve the patient. So patients were coming to us and saying, well, I take this arthritis medication. Now, because of that side effects, now I got high blood pressure. So what can you do for me? And so we started looking into functional approach and nutritional and, herbal supplement. And that's where keep flowing. And to the point that I've actually end up doing a fellowship with the A4M. And
Wow.
that's when I got into IFM and all that. And the training just keep going.
Yeah. So, I mean, quite a colorful background. I love hearing
Thank you.
this aspect of what, brings you to the present day, which is, helping people in such a meaningful capacity, whether it's through the pharmacy that you operate. And also, I love the innovation. I love how your mind works, because you're differentiating yourself not only through the flavoring, right? Not only through the compounding, but then also through the functional medicine aspect of it as well. That's really important for any entrepreneur to kind of recognize that, right? Is like, how do I identify what I love doing and do it in a way where I am serving the underserviced?
Right.
I've always been curious as to why these big companies around you don't do these things. Have you identified why they don't do it and look out for these things?
Kind of. The reason is that to do this, when you do this, you get patients that really, really need help. And from their point of view is they don't want pharmacists to spend a lot of time with the patient, even though they say they do. Their practice model does not give you the time that you need to serve the kind of patient that we serve in our pharmacy. Like we may be on the phone, triaging and trying to do mini discovery call or root cause, whatever thing for half an hour with one patient. And so especially like I got another pharmacist and she was just talking to one patient today and about chronic UTI. And we will start talking about other functional approach, other supplement, all of that. And took her half an hour. And for me, if I get onto the phone with the patient, my phone call, the shortest is 45 minutes. So I don't want to get on the phone. I want them to, make an appointment for discovery call with me so I can spend the proper time with them. But if I get on the phone like during the day because, somebody calling, I was told to talk to Dennis, then I end up 45 minutes to an hour on the phone and I can't do anything. Everything's behind. So that's the difference, because these patients really need help. And there's not, as you know, there's not a lot of help out there. We need more people like you and us to be able to help these patients properly and make them understand what's going on and what to do. So,
my wife is a pharmacist, as you know, Dennis, and as many of the listeners probably know as well. And that was the thing that, really bothered Deepa too, is not being able to spend the time that's required to actually answer these people's questions. And, many of these companies, we're not here to point fingers or anything, but many of these companies are set up and the KPI is how many people can we churn out today. The KPI isn't how satisfied are people.
Exactly.
And so, that customer service goes a long way. And as Tony Robbins says, find an underserviced market and over deliver. And it sounds like that's what you're doing.
We try our best.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me about your story with Organo, because, that's another business that you've built quite successfully. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. As you know, we got to know each other through Dr. Bob. And when I got into functional medicine and when I was learning about nutrition initially, back in 2006, Metagenics company, and you're familiar with the company, the rep that came to visit me, I'm learning as much as I can from him and I'm learning from the conferences and stuff, but I was not 100% happy with the training that I was getting and information that I'm learning. I wanted more. So he actually in 2006 suggested that at that time, Metagenics, every time the new rep start, the first training that the rep has to do is go spend 2 days training in clinic with Dr. Bob Rakowski in Houston. And so back in 2006, when I was pushing for more training, they suggested that they will actually get me to Houston and pay, talk to Dr. Bob, and then I can then pay Dr. Bob to go do training with 2 days with Dr. Bob. So that's how I got to know Dr. Bob Rakowski. And so I tried to schedule it, and his schedule and my schedule was just couldn't match it. So I actually couldn't go down. So since then I follow him. And so, like many of us, we have mentors over the whatever distance that the person may not even know that he's mentoring you. Mm-hmm. And so Dr. Bob has become one of my first mentors that I follow. So I subscribe to his email. I always ask Metagenics what he's doing. Every lecture he's trying to do, webinar and stuff, I will try and attend. And so when Facebook became a thing, Dr. Bob was on the Facebook, and so I follow him. And at 6 years ago, he posted something that caught my eyes. He said healthy coffee, and he was sharing his experience with his patient with these coffee. And I'm already doing functional medicine consult, and I see about 10 to 12 patients a week in my practice, one-on-one. And I see a lot of patients that are coming to me saying that in the morning before I start anything, I have to drink a pot of coffee. I'm like, bingo, these patients, if I can have this whatever healthy coffee with reishi in it, I can do something. And I didn't know much about reishi at the time, just started learning. And so I went to Minneapolis for a CCN conference, and Dr. Bob was doing a workshop, and he shared his, case report about patient with these reishi mushroom coffee and stuff. So when he finished the lecture, I went up and I said, Dr. Bob, I don't know you know me, but I've been following you since 2006, but I noticed this. I want to learn more about this coffee stuff. So he said, come to the presentation tonight. So I went to his presentation in Minneapolis, and I'm listening about all the studies and, all the patient case report that he had and other practitioner has in his group. By the time he finished, Jacob Rakowski, his son, was there too, and Jacob was sitting beside me. And as soon as Dr. Bob finished, Jacob said, what do you think? I said, where can I sign? Because this is going to be another tool for my patients, because I have a lot of patients. And my practice somehow went through more of the adrenal dysfunction underlying causes. So 90% of my patients are adrenal fatigue or adrenal dysfunction patients. So everybody's staying up or, pushing through with the coffee. So for me was, hey, if I can put this healthy coffee with reishi, and if reishi is supposed to do what it said, I got a really good tool. So that's how I got into it. I'm always looking at what else can I put in my toolbox for my patient, and I think that's similar to you, that you were always looking at what else can we do to improve our patient and offer them, something better. So.
Yeah, especially if it's simple, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Like the coffee and reishi. And even if reishi does 10% of what it's capable of doing, it's definitely worthwhile for people to investigate further.
Well, if I can share one patient story with my initial reishi. When I came back, one of my patient husband came in to pick up the nutritional stuff for her. And I was talking to him and I said, how are you doing, Jack? And he said, well, I've been having back pain for 2 years, and I got MRI done, CAT scan done. Nobody can find anything. So I said, you know what? I just got this new reishi mushroom coffee, supposed to help with the pain too. So I said, why don't you try? So I give him 6 samples. He went home, drank 4 in the same day, because after 2 cups, his back pain improved. And so he tried another 2 cups, and by the evening, his pain 10 level went down to 4.
Wow.
So the next day he came and bought a box, and he drank the whole box. He drank 4 cups a day, and he kept buying, and within 30 days, his back pain actually disappeared.
Oh, wow. What a great
So
story.
after that, I'm like, hey, I'm keep carrying this now because nobody can find anything for him. And now I'm looking back as he's a farmer. So there's, chemical toxicity and his wife's not well. So he's really stressed. And so combination of toxin and stress, his adrenals are totally shot. And so reishi and coffee, the whole detox and, adaptogen and anti-inflammation help him really, really well.
Yeah, and low back pain is a common functional symptom of adrenal fatigue. So
absolutely, yeah.
Great pickup there. I love that.
Yeah, thank
and
you.
You would never, he would have probably never gotten this relief if he just went to a regular pharmacy.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
or even a regular pharmacist. And that isn't to be demeaning, but it just goes to show that the extra steps that you've taken, the trainings you've taken, the mentors that you followed have uniquely positioned you to offer, exceptional service to your community. So that's awesome to hear that.
Yeah.
So you and Cindy work in the pharmacy together?
No, like I said, we have two pharmacies. So I ran the whole operation of both pharmacy, and she ran the second pharmacy by herself. Second pharmacy is right inside the medical clinic, which is a blessing for us because what we do, we can interject functional practice into their clinic. So those physicians are actually quite happy that we're there and being able to offer this extra service to their patients. So
amazing. So in addition to the medications, you probably sell supplements and functional foods like the reishi. What's the number one supplement that you sell? I'm curious.
The number one supplement, well, there's two of them that I sell a lot. And by the way, I actually have my own nutritional company. I started 5 years ago. It's called Sin Nutritional. So I created some of my own formulas and registered with the Health Canada, and it's still going. One of the one that we sell the most is our own brand called Sericom, which is L-theanine. Being from my background and my work with the patient is chronic stress and chronic fatigue type of thing. So that theanine works really well with doing, brain fog, focus, dopamine, serotonin, all of that, and sleep. So that's one of our top one. And second one that we saw very close second is chelated magnesium, amino acid chelated magnesium. As you know, it's involved with over 300 different enzyme function, especially involved with the energy production, muscle relaxation. All these chronic stress people, we all are really tense, right? So lack of magnesium and cramp and all of that. And sleep apnea is one of them, right? I do boatload of magnesium and I see improvement in sleep apnea. And I see chronic fatigue patient with a tons of magnesium, and that alone can do really, really good relief on pain and fatigue. So those two are my number one seller.
All right. Yeah. Magnesium, we call it the cure for everything, right? And with 300 enzymatic functions, it's super important. And of course, it's so neat because it helps you relax and it also gives you energy because it plays a role in mitochondrial function.
Mitochondria,
so
yeah, exactly.
Really is one of those paradoxical supplements that can really kind of unwind people. How much what's a heavy dose as you're describing? What would that be?
For the chronic fatigue patient, I use up to one patient. Actually, the patient was in Ontario. It's a pharmacist. She's a pharmacist, and she got chronic fatigue to the point that she had to stop working. And we, through one of my colleagues, it wasn't me directly, but through one of my colleagues, he asked me and saying, okay, which dose should we go, whatever. So we use it actually 1,600 milligram of elemental magnesium, like 4 times a day, divided 4 times a day. And she was in chronic fatigue and couldn't work for 2 years. And after 6 months, she went back to part-time. She was about to go back to work. Yeah, and that's all we did. We didn't even add any other supplement, just magnesium alone.
Wow, it's amazing. Magnesium. It's if you're not using
It's
magnesium in your
miracle.
practice, it
You should.
is miraculous. So
Yeah.
great call there. And then the theanine, as we know, theanine is so powerful for sleep and
Absolutely.
kind of
Yeah.
unwinding that stress response that people have.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of curious, Dennis, with everything that's going on in the world right now. Have you seen people's prescriptions starting to change, or people's stress and anxiety levels changing as they're coming in to see you?
Absolutely. We are seeing more antidepressant and antipsychotic. We have patients on like 2 to 3 different antidepressant or antipsychotic combination. And to the point that we're seeing some of them, as a pharmacist, it's alarming because there's interaction you start seeing, or there's, enhanced side effects you start seeing. So absolutely, last 2 years it's bad, with the stress and anxiety for a lot of people.
So, I mean, I'm glad they have you, but hopefully things change here soon, and we can get back to some level of normalcy, right?
Absolutely.
So tell me how does your functional medicine practice fit into this? You did mention people can schedule a call with you, but I'd love to hear how you've incorporated functional medicine more specifically in your pharmacy.
What we've done is every pharmacist who came to work with me, I've tried to teach them what I've learned. I've shared information, and I share my patient story, what I've done. So every time we fill prescription, we looked at the prescription and saying, okay, patient has need an antidepressant, and we see dose escalating. Why is that? How does this antidepressant work? So, for example, one of the one that we see a lot is SSRI, like serotonin or fluoxetine or Prozac. And we know that these medications work in a way that it slows down the elimination of the serotonin in our system, in turn increase the level of the serotonin. So I use the analogy of we are in the summer that the stream is water level is low because of the drought and stuff, so there's not enough water in the river. So to increase the water level in the river, we built a dam, and the dam will hold the water so the water level will go back up to normal. The same idea. I looked at these SSRI as water dam that holding serotonin to increase the level, because serotonin level is low and people are depressed. But I ask a lot of patients, if this is supposed to work as a water dam and the water dam good enough, why are we building more and more and increasing the dose? My analogy from functional medicine point of view is we know that for your body to make even a little bit of serotonin, you need the protein as amino acid to building block. And then you need vitamins and minerals for the enzyme to work as a cofactor properly. So you need to eat protein properly, and your stomach has to be able to digest that and absorb that nutrient. And at the same time, you got to eat vegetables so that you're going to get B complex and mineral the enzyme need to make the serotonin. But I talked to a lot of these patients and said, so how much protein are you eating? They may eat once a week of protein. They say, oh, we're vegetarian. Okay, what are you eating for vegetable? Potatoes. So they're not getting any of the, they need greens for vitamins and minerals. They need protein for amino acid. They're not getting that. So you look at this river and a dam, the dam is there, but river is totally bone dry because there's no serotonin production at all from their system. So you're never going to increase the serotonin with the drug because the body can't make it. So I start talking to them saying, you should eat at least, chicken. If you can eat meat, chicken or fish a few times a week, you need to really load up greens. So, the same idea that a lot of us doing, right? Patient, okay, 7 days, you got to do vegetable loading. And if you can, protein, if not at least protein shake to load the system up to do that 7 days before even we do anything. So I've been talking to a lot of people about you really got to eat vegetables. You don't need to do that 7 day, whatever thing that we tell our consult patient to do. But as, regular pharmacy patient filling prescription, you need to eat that protein, you need to eat the vegetables. And talk to me again when you come and refill the prescription if you're eating it, and where your dose and how your moods are. And if they started eating vegetables and protein and things, within 30 days when they come back, their dose stabilized. They don't need to increase, they don't need to add or even reducing dose that we've seen.
Yeah, to me, this makes total sense. And what doesn't make sense to me is why more people, especially the prescribing physician, isn't having this discussion. Again, grateful that they come in to see you and they can get the answers from you. But if they were to go somewhere else, they would just be filled a prescription. And
absolutely.
If the prescription doubled or, there was another prescription added, then they would just keep getting it filled.
Yeah.
And really with no end in sight, right?
No, I can understand from the physician point of view, because I work with some of the physicians fairly closely, and the billing process, right? Government pay them for per time charge. So they have every 10 or 15 minutes, they have to see another patient. And if they don't, they can't bill the government. So for them to be able to build the government properly and have their practice properly and being able to afford it, they have to see patient every 15 minutes. So they have no time. And you know it and I know it. Every time we see patient, it's at least half an hour talk, if not an hour, right? And so if they see patient for half an hour, government only still let them bill 15 minutes. Unless they can add on different diagnoses and stuff, and being, good at billing. And that is become an art in itself. And a lot of physicians don't like to do that, and it's not right. So then they end up billing 15 minutes or an hour appointment. Then, so they start saying, well, we can't do this.
Yeah. Well, my brain goes to, well, why don't they just record a video of saying what they need to say, and then they can give that to a patient on a QR code, or just send them a video and says, hey, watch
and
this.
That's the thing. That's why I joined your group and, your training, because I wasn't thinking that either. I will talk to them over and over again, different patient on the phone, whatever. And since I've been working with you, I'm thinking, okay, I got to do video on this. I got to do video on that. And like, sometimes we don't think, and I'm in still traditional mindset a bit, right? Even though I'm doing functional medicine. And that's where, like you said, the community is good, that I'm in functional community with you guys, and everybody's, pushing different, sharing different point and different tricks and tips, and then make it really improve for everybody.
Yeah, I can, maybe you've already done this, but what I can see in your pharmacy is perhaps a little QR code beside maybe your top selling products that describes who this is for, what it's for, what dosage is appropriate for people to take it, perhaps what medications it might be paired with appropriately. And your pharmacy could be like almost a library of content. As people are waiting for their prescriptions to get filled, they could be learning so many things. And
absolutely.
And also go ahead.
And that's coming in the new year. That's my new year project.
Amazing.
All of these QR codes gonna come. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So tell me, you told me some of your favorite stories, like the gentleman with the backpack with the reishi. What's one of your favorite functional medicine stories?
One of the favorite stories, it's probably almost 3 years now. I got a patient that actually contacted one of my friends and colleagues in New Jersey, because my friends him, John Kim. And John Kim was on Instagram a lot, and I wasn't on it that much yet at that time. And so they found him. And so this couple from Ontario found John Kim in New Jersey. So they contacted him and saying, we want your help. So John Kim said, well, you're in Canada. If you want a, pharmacist and functional medicine practitioner, you should work with dentists. So they came to me, and so I actually worked with the wife first, and she got better after a month. And she said, "Dan, can you help my husband?" I said, "Okay." So I set up the one-on-one Zoom call Friday night for an hour. And as we were talking, I'm asking questions about, his history, all of that. And every time I ask him a question halfway through, he cannot remember what he was talking about. But after an hour, a lot of probing, I found out that he's been diagnosed with PTSD for 20 years and never got better. And nobody can help him. So he's hoping that I can, do something for him. And he's vegan. And so I told him, okay, you're vegan. I'm going to do vegetable load. Go find a vegan protein and eat about 6 to 9 servings of vegetable and drink about 5 shakes of vegan protein. And then I told him to do meditate or, breathing technique and stuff. I show him some basic stuff. And I said, if you like, you can do yoga. And he said, I do weightlift. I said, stop. The whole week, you cannot exercise. You can do movement, gentle movement, but you got to eat, you got to drink protein shake, you got to go to bed. And he was not sleeping. He can only sleep about 3 hours a night for the last 20 years. So I said, because I didn't do discovery call with you and I feel bad because I have to probe a lot and I couldn't get anywhere except, I know you got PTSD, you fatigue. I'm just doing this. And next week we'll catch up again and see what else do we need to do. So I said, I'll schedule complimentary an hour next Friday. He said, okay. So I didn't hear anything from him the whole week. Friday, we got on the Zoom. And as soon as we got on, I said, how are you doing? He smiled. And before he can say anything, I saw his wife on the Zoom camera. She said, thank you. I said, for what? She said, giving me my husband that I lost 20 years ago.
Wow.
I said, tell me more. I was excited, right? Because I haven't really done much except I just told him to eat.
Right.
And certain way. And so she said, he's been helping. They got 3 young kids. And so she said, he's been helping me with all the kids' homework. He's been actually doing laundry. And he's been tugging these kids to bed every night. I'm like, wow. And he started laughing. He said, I love doing that. And the wife said, but you haven't been able to do that a week ago. I said, okay, what else? And he said, I don't need anything. I'm going to keep eating this and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Thank you. And that was it. And I was so excited, so happy. And, some people looked at me and said, you didn't make a cent. Well, I make 1 consult fee, but I save the whole family life.
Yeah.
And that's what, get you going.
Yeah, that's so. I have goosebumps. Like literally, my whole body is covered in goosebumps right now as you're sharing that story. So thank you. It, it warms my heart to know that people like you are out there. I'm grateful that our paths have crossed, and that somebody who's just as like-minded and giving has joined our community and has not only grown from it but also contributed to it, which says a lot about who you are, Dennis. I'd love for us to perhaps switch gears and share your experience. What has it been like being part of our community from a mentorship perspective?
It's actually been really good. Like I said, I've been looking at different mentors, different things, to improve my practice so that I can serve patient better. And but before I'm still doing it one-on-one a lot. And as you know, one-on-one take times, and you cannot reach as many people as you can. And so with the mentorship program that I'm on it with you, with the Living Proof, I've learned that, you can actually do good group program that you can reach more people. So I think last 2 years, I'm slow learner. So I'm still learning how to get these things online and group programs started. And so it took me 2 years. I actually started, finish up 10-week program, not online yet, just on the paper. I got one patient starting actually this Sunday. She paid for it. She bought the program, came and talked to me. And I asked her to come in because she's in Winnipeg. I asked her to come in to see me because in my office, I have a bioimpedance measuring machine in body. So I wanted to measure fat percentage, water percentage, muscle, all of that. So I told her to come in and I did the BIA for her. And I said, we're going to compare that in 10 weeks. So I started that. And then throughout, I learned about social media, all of that from different social media group. And the organo actually got me into how to do social media training and stuff with Eric Worre and those people. So I've actually last 2 years started Facebook Live or posting video on the social media every day. I have not missed a day yet. So I've done it over 2 years every day.
Wow.
And with Eric Worre last year, they said, oh, you should get onto TikTok. And I got onto TikTok. I played with it a little bit here and there. I didn't get much initially. And 6 months ago, my TikTok follower were about 300. And then I learned about doing short video and every night. I started doing the short video less than a minute on TikTok. Within 2 months, my follower hit 10,000 follower.
Wow.
And so my TikTok post I talk about breathing, I talk about, health, all of that. And actually a week ago, I was listening to your, breathing to lose fat. You talk about if you burn fat, 85% come out as a carbon dioxide. So you have to breathe properly. Mm-hmm. And so that you can eliminate the fat and 15% go as a urine. So one night, actually last Sunday, I was scratching my head saying, I've been doing this for 2 years now. I need to do something different topic. And I want to talk about breathing. And I talk about breathing already, about calming, whatever. So when I watch your thing, I'm like, bingo. So I went on TikTok and just impromptu, I did talk about, when you burn fat, 85% is carbon dioxide. So you need to breathe properly so that you can lose fat. And my title on TikTok was Fat Burning Tips. And so I posted up last Sunday. I got so far 70,000 views on that 20-second video. And amazing. With that, I did another video saying, if I do 7-day challenge, would you commit to it? And I can show you how to improve health. So far, 190 yes, and asking me for link.
I love it.
So I learned a lot from Living Proof mentorship, how to get more, reach more people and how to help more people. And that is a huge thing. And the whole QR code thing, you and I talked about it, I think almost a year ago, that I should do that. And I've been trying to work at it, play at it, but, running a pharmacy and all of that. So that's my next year project.
Okay. I love that. And congratulations on the growth that you're experiencing. And thank you for putting this out there. More people need to hear it. And, the more people we can reach with this, the more people can experience
absolutely
better health, right?
Yeah. On the comments, some people even call it skinny breathing.
There you go. I love it. That's a good term.
Yeah.
So what you mentioned that you're going to be working on immortalizing some of your content using QR codes. What's next on the horizon for you? What else do you have planned?
Right now, like I mentioned, I have a nutritional company. And so I'm trying to put out more specific combination of supplement out there. And right now I'm working with another company in US, Dr. Wilson, James Wilson. I don't know if you're familiar with it. He's the ND that actually coined the term adrenal fatigue.
Yeah, I have his book.
Yeah, so he's actually one of my mentors. That's why a lot of my consult is looking at the chronic stress. And we hit it off really well. So back in 2009, actually, Health Canada switched all the supplement to be registered, with the Health Canada. And his supplement were not, so he pulled off the market. And 2009, he actually contacted me and said, would you help me register and be my exclusive distributor? So we've been off and on working with him, but last 5 years, we concentrated working with him, signed a contract and all of that. So he got actually 9 products registered with the Health Canada. We got 2 of them as we speak in our pharmacy. And there's one specific, his multivitamin, multi-B complex for adrenal support. It's going to be coming into our pharmacy probably by the new year. We're just waiting for the stability and toxicity testing data. When that come up, we got approved by Health Canada to import it. So by January. So that's my next thing that I'm working on. And the other thing is I want to learn genetic. I dabble in genetic, and I've been kind of talking off and on with the DNA company, because I know they were creating, the course with Dr. I forgot his name. Mansoor, yeah. Thank you. And I know they've been creating a course with Dr. Mansoor, and I don't know if it is up and running or not, but I got busy with my pharmacy, so I pushed that back. But that's one of the other things in the new year that I want to do, because in pharmacy practice, traditional pharmacy in Toronto, actually Shoppers did the 2 years ago pilot project for pharmacogenomics. Why don't we do nutrigenomics? So absolutely. I know DNA company has that part also. So that's what I wanted to do, is I want to work with them and see where we can get to.
Amazing. This has been awesome, Dennis. I've learned so much about you today, and I really admire you for the work that you're doing and the service you're providing to your community, and also the inspiration you're providing to our community. So keep that up. I would love for you to share, how can people learn more about you? Where can they go? Where can they follow you?
I'm on social media a lot. So I'm on Facebook. You go look for Dennis Wong. I'm on Instagram as a SinNRX, and I'm on TikTok as SinNRX. And then to my website, sinnen.com, there's quite a bit about myself and Cindy and what we do, and how we serve the patient. We're always looking at new way of helping and improving patient. And, today, like, people look at us and saying, why do you do this? Why do you need that many, stuff in your pharmacy? And we said, because our patient really need our help and our time and our support. So I'm always looking at new technology to improve the time that we need to spend. So, like you said, QR code for information on nutritional supplement, etc. I'm trying to do more video and blog that coming in the new year to put it up. And I'm actually trying to start weekly. I don't know if it's going to go to podcast or not, but weekly actually live video Q&A with one of my partner about, different health, different thing. And I may, you will be probably that I will invite you on my, live video chat type of thing, that we're just trying to figure out the time and where and which platform. I probably going to use the StreamYard and do that so that I can put it on any social media platform. I'm on YouTube also.
I love it. You've got 2 young boys, right? Do they help you with the tech stuff, or is this stuff you figured out on your own?
They actually TikTok, they show me what to do on the TikTok, because when I was told to go on the TikTok, I didn't know what to do at all. And my 2 teenagers laughed at me saying, don't do it. I said, no, I have to, just show me. And they said, there's only 13 and 15 years old on. I said, no, you gotta show me. And so they show me what to do. And then, I saw Dr. Bennett, right? He was on it really good, and that inspired me to do more. And that's being, in the community with you, right? There's David Bennett doing it, and his thing had 100K view and stuff. I'm like, that's me, I gotta try it. And so I start playing with it. And so some of mine are now hitting 70,000 views. So I'm happy with it. I got one, went over 103,000 views. But, it's what you put out, right? You trying to help patients and trying to share the information. And if it is helpful for them, you're going to get the viewer that start following you.
Oh, that's great. Before I let you go, I do have to ask you a question. What is that symbol behind you in the sky there?
Thank you.
It looks important. I'm curious.
Yeah, that is our logo, our trademark. When we started the pharmacy, our mindset between myself and Cindy was, we want harmony in life. And in Chinese medicine, yin and yang. And the same thing with, your living proof symbol, right? It's harmony there. So when we were creating the logo, I wanted ancient practice, Chinese traditional practice a bit in it. So I thought of Chinese ancient coin. So the round circle itself is a Chinese ancient coin from one of the, whatever dynasty, I don't know. I grabbed it. And then I went and worked with the Chinese artists. And I told Chinese artists that I want 5 Chinese elements in it that's supposed to circle inside the coin. And Chinese coin has a square hole in the middle. And I wanted in that square in the middle, Chinese character that said harmony.
Okay.
So she cut out the coin into 5 spots. So if you look at it, there is a fire. And then after that, when the fire is done, everything go into earth. When you look at the earth, there is a metal and gold stuff in there. And if you use the metal to make a container and stuff that hold the water, and the water give life to plants and forests. So now you got the forest. Then the forest will then feed the fire. So that's a circle of 5 elements. And that's in the harmony, then our body will be well. So in the middle, that character represent harmony. So that was my thought process that I came up with. So we got and I wanted to make sure that the Chinese character in the middle is, because apparently you can write harmony in Chinese so many ways. So I wanted to make sure that represent the health and wellness and, our mind and body. So I asked the artist, making sure that you choose the right character. So she actually sent a few characters to China and consulted these Chinese experts in China and saying, which one should we use? What represent health and wellness and mindset? So they said this one. So we did actually spend fair bit of time and thought process that I came up with. And then with the help of the Chinese artists, we came up with this logo. So that's our trademark.
Amazing. It's all those attentions to detail, right? They serve as a reminder. They serve as a proclamation that these are the values that we live by. Yeah. And as a consistent reminder that this is why we do what we do. So thank you for sharing that. I'm glad I asked.
At one point, thank you. Yeah. At one point, we were going to try and change our pharmacy name to Harmony. But apparently, Harmony name is owned by a U.S. company for medical and pharmacy, both U.S. and Canada, but they don't have any pharmacy or clinic in Canada.
Okay. Well,
so I can use that as a fine, synonyms, work well.
It works well. Yeah. It's got both your names in it. So it's powerful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, my friend. This has been so enlightening for me. Once again, I appreciate everything that you're doing. Keep up the great work. And for those of you that are tuned in, Dennis is a great person to follow. He's consistently putting content out there. rain or shine, as he said, for the last 2 years. And that takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of diligence. And, he shares great information. So check out his website, check out his social media handles, follow him, and let him inspire you, just as he's inspired myself and many in our community. And, what can I say, my friend? I'm looking forward to seeing you again in person here soon. Hopefully that happens sooner than later. Until then, lots of love, lots of gratitude. Have an awesome rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.